Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you are in the country or in the world. I've moved and I have a different studio. It's similar things behind me, as you can see. All my stuff is here mostly, and Delphi laptop. My camera is doing weird things because the AI camera is working at the moment for some random reason, which is all very well and good, but it's causing me a few bits of problems. The lighting is perfectly adequate. I don't get it. In fact, I have several quite bright lights on me. If you see the reflection of my glasses, you'll see. But if I turn the AI camera off, it doesn't focus properly. So I'm sorry, I might look a little bit blurry today. So that's how it goes. Hi to everybody. Terry in San Carlos, of course. Hello, Terry. Marine layer overcast. Yes, well, if you will live nearby the sea, then that's what's going to happen. Francis in Wilton, weather forecast not so warm for 10 days. See, uh, it's like such a British thing to do to talk about the weather, isn't it? Fingers crossed, all is wired up after you move. Yes, I tired? Yeah, a little bit, I guess. My dogs aren't with me at the moment, but they're moving in on Friday, so chaos will return. And yeah, I don't know. I took my machine to bits. I plugged all the new stuff in. The removal guys broke my chair, so my chair is a little bit random at the moment. But apart from that, yeah, it's better. It's a new studio and lots of exciting things going on. In fact, let me make sure my microphone's in the right place, which it should be. Ian Catchy Cooler. Oh, there you go. Did I click on David Avenue from Clarkston, Michigan? And yes, I think that might be Antonio's brother. Tell me if I'm wrong there. But Tejema, is that how you pronounce it? I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong. Zapata and Anderson. Hello, Anderson from Brazil. Uh, so great stuff. Excuse me. I've been drinking blue stuff to help with my throat. It is, for those of you who are talking about the weather, it's super sunny here in Dallas. I'm actually now in Frisco, which is northern part of Dallas, right in the center of Frisco. It's great. I like it here. I can literally look out of my window and I can see the Star, which is the Dallas Cowboys rehearsal field, which is quite interesting. If you're a Texan, you'll understand the Cowboys. Go Cowboys! That's what we're all about. Anyway, today, reasonably short webinar today, only because I've covered this topic before, and I'm going to reiterate a little bit of the topic, but just talk about some weird gotchas in desktop applications notifications. What I'm going to show today does work with Microsoft OS X, Apple OS X for the Mac. I'm not quite ready to demo it on the Mac because my Mac is over there, and it's beautiful. It's a MacBook Air, but I haven't got it all set up properly at the moment. I can do apps on it, but I didn't really have time to do all of this and test the demo. But the only real difference today with OS X is you have to request permission, and sometimes I'm not sure on the version of Rad Studio, but sometimes you have to put a notifications request in their manifest. So there's a plist file that you need to edit manually, and put the request notifications permission in there. There is a method to call that you can say request notifications permissions, and it's a little bit fiddly to get right. And I just didn't have time to get it sorted out. I had a big meeting this morning with the big boss asking me about some other stuff. So there you go. JP is in Lewisburg, and David Espenshila has just messaged me via Teams. Let me see what he's saying, because I think he's saying that he's going to see me in Germany. Is that what he's saying? Let's find out, shall we? Because I'm going to Germany as well. Let me see. Of course, stupid Teams. Since they broke Teams, it's all gone horribly wrong. Yeah, let's go to here. Let's see what he's got to say. He's saying, "Hey, I'm looking forward to finally meeting you and talk to you in person in Germany in September. Until then, happy Easter from me." Thank you, David. David is one of our guys that works in our German office, so our DACH office, I think is how we refer to them, which is really Deutschland and Switzerland and Austria. So DACH, I think that's why they call it that. I'm not sure, but anyway, that kind of region. I will be in Germany in September. I'm going to 2 events in Germany, and I haven't got a QR code for them at the moment or a link. And obviously, before then, Delphi Summit. I am probably going to Brazil around about that time as well. So that's going to be busy. And I'm going to Spain. I'm also going to Denmark in 2 weeks' time, and the Delphi Summit in August. So I'm going to be out and about. So we've only got a few more webinars left. In fact, I think we've only got 2 or 3 now. Let me see. Hold on just one second. DevRel webinars, that would be me. So we are doing today the desktop notification. Yes. So after today, our next webinar will be detecting dark mode, light mode, and accent colors the 2025 way. So a good few years ago, I did a webinar where we talked about detecting dark mode, and I wrote a unit called Delphi Dark Mode, and it was widely used, which was great. And I even had one webinar where I was discussing, I think it was font creator or something like that. So, I really love your theme, the way you've got everything set, and also I'm really pleased to see you detect dark mode on the Mac. And he's like, "Yeah, I used your code to do that." So I'm like, "Oh, okay." It's really weird when you find people that use things you've written, but there you go. That's what it's all about. But anyway, the world has changed a bit since I wrote that unit. You used to exclusively detect some registry settings, and thank you, Anderson. That is he says, a beautiful chair behind me. That one. Let me see if I can point to it. That one he's talking about. That is, it's not an ad, but it's an IKEA Poang, Poang, with a circle above the a Poang chair. I really like it. It's my favourite chair. And I sit it there, and I have my laptop there. I have other chairs to my right as well. But yeah, it's a cool chair. It's very comfortable, bouncy. It's all my stuff, you know. But this chair I'm sitting on is a really good gaming chair from Emerge, and unfortunately it got broken in the move. Everything else managed to survive except that. So there you go. So yes, as I was talking about dark mode, we used to detect it in by basically looking at some registry settings on Windows, and that was in a previous version. In fact, actually 11.3 of Red Studio upwards. And since 12 came out, they actually now have included in the VCL and FireMonkey, I believe, a platform service that you can now detect dark mode and theme colors and a few things like that. What they call the accent color. So if your window's got like a red border, you can detect what that color is and then match your app to it. And so the webinar that I'm going to do on Friday is about a modern way of doing that. As you know, I'm really into UI design, user interface design. And I always fiddle around with our demos and make them prettier. But that's what I'm doing. And then after that, we've got 2 more. One of them, it's looking like that might be a problem, and that's how to write apps for smartwatches, Roku devices, and MetaQuest. I do have access to a MetaQuest, and I have tried to do stuff with it, and it's Android. So hopefully that will work. Paul says, "Bummer, I've enjoyed your voice in the background as I work." Oh, I see. Oh, because we're running to the end of the webinar. This is not the last of the webinars. Yeah. What I mean is, to clarify, we've got 3 more from the 30 for 30 webinar series. Let me just go and shut this computer down. It's going to beep away in the background. That happening, can we? I unfortunately was doing some work on it and left it. Ooh, come on, camera, focus. There you go. Um, yeah, no, the last three for the 30 for 30 webinars. After that, we have a lot. We have another one coming up this Thursday, and it is not it not let me just take you to the webinar site. So down here, up there, or indeed down here, we have slotted in an additional webinar this Thursday, same time as today, and it is going to be with some very, very cool people. I've had one of them on before. Let me just see if I can find there. Yeah. So I've had one of them on before, and this is a different person. So De Secure, it's Valerie Kim is joining me on Thursday, same time as today. April the 17th will be live, and she is a solutions engineer for Der Scanner, and we're going to talk about code security and code quality. Um, so they have a very interesting little app. You point at your code, and it will spot things like um, unwise unwise structures and things like that, or ways where the what they call a code smell, so where something is probably a bad idea. um I, I'm told it works. I have not used it myself. Oh, Mark from Cardiff. Mark, you are probably one of our first people to come to us from Wales. So, Ayakida, I hope you're doing well. And yeah, I love Cardiff. I love Wales. My grandfather on my mother's side was Welsh. Um, so there you go. Williams, of course. Um, Yes, so the code quality webinar this Thursday, same time as usual. So if you get in your emails, check your emails. If not, go to the webinar site, and you will see the thing there. You can go here as well, but register for it. It's going to be going on this channel. So if you're watching on YouTube and you haven't done it before, click on the subscribe button, and then click on the all for the alerts. Just subscribe. I won't get any money for it. I'm not going to get like a little surprise from YouTube for getting more subscribers, and I don't get any more pay rises or anything like that. And I won't know who's doing it. So it's a safe way of getting notified about when we go live. So if you go to the YouTube and then just click on subscribe, when we do odd webinars like this, you'll get a ping from YouTube to tell you that we're going to go live. It'll also tell you we tend to set them up a week or so in advance, so you'll get a notification to say, by the way, they're live next Thursday, and it will show at your time, so you can't possibly miss it. But she's very interesting, Valerie. She's a security hacker type expert. She knows her stuff. Her picture is terrifying, but I've actually spoke to her meetings before, and she's not a scary person. but her picture's like this, super stern, like she's going to ask you where you hid the bodies or something. She's great. Yes, I think what we're going to do is say no to that person who's spamming us. Right. Well, without further ado, let us go on to the demo and talk about what we're going to talk. This time I have three screens. So there is an outside chance that I'm going to actually be able to see the questions and also drive the slides. But then again, anything's possible. So her stuff integrates with the Delphi IDE to watch our code for problems. Um, I actually don't know. They've got two ways of doing things. I know they have an add-in that they're working on. I dropped the ball a bit here because I've been really busy preparing for things, but I believe they have an add-in that they're going to show us. But I know they're working on one, and what it does is I believe you can get it to scan your project and find problems in the code, security problems, but also look for code quality. but they also have a site that you can submit your code, and it will scan it, doing it that way as well. They also have healthypackages.ai, which is a um, website. You can go and check whether if you're using any certain packages like JavaScript packages and things like that. It can tell you whether they're safe. So it's about, and Valerie will explain all this on Thursday, but it's about what you call supply chain security. So if your code is safe, great. But what you also need to find out is the code you're using from components and third-party libraries, is that safe as well? Because the last thing you want to do is, and it's happened, the last thing you want to do is use someone's code and then find out later it's got some Trojan injected in it, and that has happened, unfortunately. So yeah, very interesting person to talk to. Right, so let me try and get my screens set up so that they will work, because lordy, I have now got 3 screens. I always had 3 screens before, I just didn't have it connected up. And I can see the chat. Yes, fantastic. So let me share my screen, see which one I can actually get. Ooh, very interesting. So now, because I have an extra screen, I now have a third option for sharing. So I'm going to choose this one. That looks right. And while we're here, I'm not sure what that says, but I know it's TV. Developer TV, I think. Hello, everyone. Yes, hello to you too. Right, so let's get on and talk about the webinar, the topic that we're doing. As I said, it's going to be quite a short one because we've kind of been through this before, but this is part of our 30 for 30 webinar series. Okay, and today's topic is how to enable desktop notifications on Windows and Mac OS. The code I'm going to show you will work on Mac OS as well, but I'm not going to show you it working on the Mac because I just literally don't have it set up. I moved on Friday and Saturday, and I just managed to get set up. And like I say, I'm having problems with lights. Who am I? If you don't know who I am, my name is Ian Barker, and I'm the Embarcadero Developer Advocate. You can email me, please do, at ian.barker@embarcadero.com, or if you want to go and read some more about me, then go to about.me/Ian Barker. I do get people email me. Some people email me very regularly. You know who you are, Paul, and a few others. And I think people are sometimes surprised that a company like ourselves will respond. But why not? We're in it together. We're in the same boat when it comes to development and stuff like that. So we want to make sure that we're responsive, and I try to reply as quickly as I can. I am very, very busy, and I do get a lot of messages and things like that. So sometimes it's not always going to be the same day. It might be the next day, but I will get back to you. Today's replay will be available at IB Desk Notifies. That's tinyurl.com/IB Desk Notify, where we'll have the slides and the little demo. Paul's laughing because I called him out as a regular emailer. He's probably emailed me 4 times today. I'm not sure. And we have talked about notifications before and discussed how they work with mobile notifications, and primarily with the mobile notifications, the one that we did there was using FCM. So that's Firebase Cloud Messaging. It takes a little bit of setting up to get to, but once you're set up, then the thing works properly and it's pretty good. You can see there the permission service asking for permissions. You do similar things to do with Mac OS. JP says, I would hope for ID integration for the scanner. Yes, that is on the cards. I don't know where they're at, and I won't know until Thursday. So the webinar on Thursday. Where were we? Yes, so we have done the mobile app notifications before. It worked fairly well, but this is kind of following on from that. So you're going to see a little bit of repeat. What are notifications for? Well, they literally are to make your app scream for attention. And on desktop, as you should know, I assume most of you are Windows users, but there might be a few of you that have got Mac and then using Windows in a VM, like Parallels or something like that, to run the Rad Studio IDE, because it is a Windows app. But if you're using Windows for any time whatsoever, it's impossible to ignore notifications on Windows. And same on a Mac, although it works slightly differently on the Mac because you can have banners and you can have that dynamic island is the way they call it and things like that now. So there's some cool extra things on the Mac which we don't actually support at the moment. I hasten to add. And that you know what they look for, like they look like that. You get a chat request and off you go. Now, I want you to look very carefully at that middle box. Okay, you see where it says chat request from visitor one and then comment. And you also see on the right hand side when the notifications are in the notification center like that, you can see the name of the app. So it's come up as LinkedIn, WhatsApp, Instagram, and so on and so forth. Ring, which is a security camera app, and a few other things. And you'll see that the name of the app is there. And in fact, we're going to talk about how to fix a little problem that you will get with Windows in a moment because it does come up. But generally speaking, you've got the title and then you've got the actual text of the alert and an icon. And you can do all of that within RAD Studio. How do local notifications work? Well, you can have a broker in the middle. It is possible to do that. But generally speaking, if you're having notifications, then you do need some kind of server somewhere to actually send you the notifications. Now, if you're doing it local on a Windows PC, then you've probably got some kind of server on your network. If you're doing, say, an ERP package or some kind of human resources package or something like that. And that server is the thing that's responsible for talking to your app and sending some notifications. How you do that depends on how you want to implement it. If you use something like RAD Server, which is a product from Embarcadero, then RAD Server will maintain the connection and can send notifications down to your client side. But you could just as easily use something from TMS, for example, and use one of their TMS packages, or you could write your own Windows service to do it. Or it could be, some API call or something like that. Or it could be that your local app itself has got a timer in it. And the timer just goes off, and every 5 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever you want to do, it will go off and check some value. And if that value has changed, let's say it's a weather forecast update, you go and ask it for the weather forecast, and it says, the latest weather forecast is rain, presumably not in Dallas because it hardly ever rains here unless it's stormy season, and then it never stops raining. But your weather forecast says rain. At that point, you've got a new forecast, and you then show a notification. So with desktop, it's a lot easier, but also a bit more fragmented. With mobile, it's very much more I suppose defined is the word I'm looking for. With mobile, the tendency is that you've got a broker in the middle. And Charlie Heap says Windows notifications in Delphi would be nice, but to be honest, I'd set off a T-task dialog working properly. Currently has no native support for Delphi styles. Actually, that has been fixed. There is a style class for that, and you can style your T-task dialogues as well. So Charlie, email me and I'll find the information about that. I'm going to put my email address up just in case people don't know it. Where is it? Oh, here it is. There you go. In.barker@embarcadero.com. That styling of those dialogues, that is actually now sorted. And it's been, I think, fixed for a little while. I think it might have been in 12.1, but I could be wrong. But I saw some code the other day that did it. So good. I'm glad. Hopefully that helps you out, Charlie. Just email me and I'll try and dig out the example. Excuse me. Anyway, so and Charlie says, will do. Thanks. Yeah. See, there you go. Ask and you shall receive. I know, I mean, for the people who are on this call who, this webinar, who have not come across this before, I get it. I'm a developer. I get up every day and I write code, literally. And obviously 90% of my job nowadays is talking about what we do, but I get the frustrations. And if something's not working and you think it should be, It is really, really irritating. I'm not here for technical support. My job is not to be your technical support expert. From Santo Andre, Sao Paulo, Brazil. Hello, David. Good to hear from you. Um, there are people on the support desk that are much, much better at me than that. And, they'll give you all sorts of answers that I probably have never heard of. I always say to people, I'm okay programmer. I'm not a bad programmer, but I don't have all the answers. So, if there's something that's bugging you, please email me because we do want to try and resolve these things. Can't resolve everything because some of them are incredibly difficult to fix, or we have to do them in a major version because it breaks the interfaces and everything stops working. But where we can, we will do it. So anyway, back to the notifications. With mobile, you nearly always have a broker in the middle. And the broker is something like that Firebase cloud messaging or Apple push notification services. And in fact, even with desktop notifications for a Mac, it's preferred to use those ways of doing things rather than do them directly. But in reality, on desktop, you tend to be doing it yourself. Okay. Rag Studio, as I said previously in my other one, you have got a tool that's already built in. You can use it in code, or you can just drop a component on your form, and then it will handle everything for you. It's on the tool palette. Every version from CE, Professional, Enterprise, Architect, they all have it. It's not something that's only for enterprise or something like that. If you've got the free version of Rad Studio, which is the enterprise, that would have been a problem. If you have got the CE version, and you can get it if you scan that barcode, it's included in there. If you've got an older version of Delphi, like Delphi 7 or something like that, go to that link and try downloading the trial. It won't do anything bad to you, but download the trial and have a go and see what's different. And go, whoa, things have changed so much in Delphi 7. Yes, they have. And in many ways, not changed because that's the way that Delphi works. So found all the tool palette, and like I say, you can also instantiate it in code, which is a little bit more fiddly, but it's just as easy. And then what does it do? Well, it basically drops on there like that. And then you've got only really a couple of properties to set. And so this is the thing that will drive things like the badge icon. When you've got an app like your email app on iOS, like your iPhone, or your Android phone, like your Samsung or something, if you've got, say, 1,000 emails waiting, you'll have a little red dot on your email icon, and it will say 1,000. You can very, very easily change that number and make that number appear on your own apps on mobile by just changing that property there to the right that says application icon badge number. Set it to whatever value makes sense for your app. So let's say you're preparing reports for time cards, people clocking in and out, or preparing wage slips, or processing the number of trucks that have turned up at your factory, or anything where there's a count or something. You could use the application icon badge number and set it to 50 or 100 or however many trucks or emails or whatever there are, and it will work. It will work out of the box. And why is someone able to make sounds to me when they shouldn't be able to? We'll worry about that in a minute. And it does work on virtually everything. There are a couple of little things on there, like the title and stuff like that, and they don't always work. So what I'm going to do is just show you first of all how it works, and then discuss a couple of things about it. So what we've got here is an app. This is actually the demo app. Let me just go over here and do it. So it's actually from the demo app from the website. So if you go to github.com/Embarcadero and then Delphi 12 demos, I think is the URL, you can get to these samples. This one will not exist on there. These buttons across the top will exist. That doesn't exist. This doesn't exist, and this definitely doesn't exist. And what does it do? Well, in order to show you without having notifications appear, I'm going to actually use something I used last time, which is the Windows Sandbox. Now, if you're not familiar with Windows Sandbox, it's a very, very useful tool. You need a recent version of Windows 11. I think it also might work on Windows 10. I can't remember, but definitely Windows 11. And what you do is you just enable Windows Sandbox, and what it gives you is this, like a little computer that's running in a window. So there it is. You can see it's a window, and it's like a virtual machine that's volatile. What that means is, as soon as I click on that close button there, everything in this Windows Sandbox dies and disappears, which means that every time you start it up again, it's a fresh machine. Now you can customize it. In mine, I've customized it to include this folder here that you can see here. And what that does is that links from this virtual machine, this sandbox, out onto my main machine so that I can copy over executables. So there are ways of copying it over, but the easiest way for me is I've got this folder on my local machine, on the machine that I'm talking from at the moment, and I copy the executables in. I can run it like that. So let's just run this demo app for a second and see what it does. So we'll run the app up, and you'll see at the moment that we have no notifications. Okay. And if I click on this, you see it says test notifications here. But click on there, it comes up and it says test notifications. Great. And if I want to look at the notification center, you can see it's there. And if I click on cancel, what will happen is it will get rid of that notification. Okay. Likewise, if I want to show it again and I click on here, it will actually send a notification saying that it's clicked. And this is all handled for you. It's a very, very simple couple of lines of code. Okay. But if I click on here and say show notification, what you'll see is you've got one notification. Now, if I click this again, it repeats the same notification. But if I want to show another notification, so I've got notification number 2 come up. Now I have +1 notifications here, and it's working exactly as you would expect notifications to work on a desktop machine. The same thing works on mobile, and virtually the same thing works on Mac. The only difference with the Mac is you need to call a thing that says request permissions beforehand. And by the way, okay, so whilst we're doing this, see, now I can see people's questions. This is the benefit of having the extra screen. It has to be the Pro version of Windows, does it? Okay, I wasn't sure. I didn't think. I have to say, I always use the Pro version of Windows. I'm a developer, and I want some cool things like BitLocker and stuff like that. It only comes with Pro. And Rick says it's the Delphi way. Yes, component development is that. And as Terry says, i.e., the sandbox is only available in the Pro version of Windows. Yes, it probably is. You also have to enable it as well. But Google Windows Sandbox. It's literally how it sounds, sandbox, and it gives you this little virtual machine. Very clever. So as you can see, just the same with mobile. And like I say, in macOS, you actually have another step where you have to say request permissions. Windows doesn't do that because Windows is not really quite as caring about your sanity, shall we say. You've got hundreds of notifications, particularly if you're me and you're broadcasting live to thousands of people, and then a lot of people send you pings on emails and stuff. But up they come. Now, if I want to cancel number 1, if I just do this, you'll see that the notification closes and number 1 has disappeared. And to make it come back, I'm just going to click on it again. Notification 1 has appeared, and they're only called notification 1 and 2 because of the sake of convenience. But you could call them another notification. It's just whatever the title is. You remember my slide earlier on, I showed the titles. Now, let's cancel number 2, and it's gone. Show it again, and it's coming up. And I don't know if you're getting the ping in the background because I think I probably forgot to tell it to include the Windows audio. And then if I want to cancel all of them, click on this and they'll all be gone. Now, a couple of little things about this. First of all, if you see the title here where it says the word test notifications, okay, Windows is a little bit buggy on this. In fact, very buggy. Okay, this is not our doing, this is a Windows problem. And that phrase, and if I put my mouse over there, that notification shouldn't disappear. That's how it's supposed to work. But you'll see it says test notifications. Now, I can actually change that title. That's defaults to the name of the app. So this app is actually called, by default, desktop notifications.exe. I haven't got it showing the extensions, but let's do that so you can see. So it's called desktop notifications.exe. Okay. By default, that notifications title, if I don't set it in code, instead of saying test notifications there, it will come up and call itself notifications. What did it call it? Notifications test or something. .exe. It will say the name of the exe. But what about if I wanted to change it altogether? Let me say, I want to say test notifications Bubba. Okay. If I click on this, you can still see it says test notifications. Okay. If I close this, okay, you'll see the notification still there. If I open it up and now click on show, it's still saying test notifications. Now, why does it do that? Because I have actually told it in the code to use the test notifications bubba. And the reason is Windows does something very hacky in the background. It creates a special shortcut in your C user's username. That's just the username of this sandbox. App data roaming, Microsoft Windows start menu programs, test notifications bubba.lnk. And so when I show the notifications, it's actually using that. Can you see that shortcut there? Well, when I'm showing the notifications, oh, look, all of a sudden, magically, it's now saying test notifications Bubba. Okay. And we'll just test that again. So I'm just going to say 30 or 30. Okay. Still saying Bubba. Okay. And very, very annoying. Wait a couple of seconds. And it still says Bubba. So if I close the app, open it up again, still says 30 for 30, because, you know, life's like that. $30 for 30. So you see what's happened there is it's changed what the app is called, the notification there. But that's a bug. That is a Windows bug. And the reason is that this shortcut here, it is really how it gets the app title. It's the hackiest thing I've ever seen. And what we can do is we can get rid of whatever file we've called it here. And in fact, I'm going to get rid of both of these like this. And I'm going to call it bug. And this is a Windows bug. I want to emphasize that. Still says Bubba, even though I've changed it to say bug. If I close, reopen, see that get created? Now when I say this, da, 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 it's the weirdest thing. It's a little bug. And I can click this and it will get rid of it. And in actual fact, because of the way our VCL code is working, if I change this to say donkey, like this, you'll notice first I won't do anything. Okay, close the app, reopen it. As soon as I reopen it, see this shortcut appear here called donkey. That's Windows doing stuff in the background. Titles come up donkey. So weird behavior, but it's kind of cool. It does some very interesting things. The way that they've done this hacky implementation is if I click on the notification, uh, I don't think it's going to do it because of the way I've set it up. Yeah, I've closed all the notifications. But if I had my app up and I said show, close this, I think, yeah, I haven't implemented the code to do it. But you can make it instead of just saying notification click. I could have got it to re-show the window, what's the word restore, right? That's the word I'm looking for. Restore the window. But anyway, that's how notifications work. So uh, weird stuff. Now, how do you start off by showing notifications properly? Because there are a couple of things you can do and you'll never have that problem. That bug will not affect you. Okay, so let's just look at the code for a second, because I've got a little bit of additional code I've put in here. So the default title is test notifications. Okay. And when I create the app, I just make sure that I restore whatever I stored in here. So I'm remembering that setting. Nigel says, is that anything to do with the Windows alias of the file path? No, it's not actually. It's it's just to do with the way they implement the mechanism. It is it's kind of helpful with deep linking. Basically, if you look at that shortcut, it's a proper Windows shortcut, and you can change the shortcut to do something else. But it's just an odd way that they do it. I don't know why they do it that way, but it seems a bit hacky to me. But anyway, so it just stores that setting, and then when it closes, the other thing that it does is it saves the value of this here, so that it's remembering the settings. So easy stuff, really. Nothing particularly difficult. I have got a function called get any name there, and all that does is this is cross-platform. So get the file name without the extension. I'm actually by default passing the executable name over here just because I want to make the code a little bit easier. But normally I use parameter string 0, or I use get exe name or something like that. But I'm doing it that way. I then get the home path and I store the ini file in a known place. Do not try and store your ini files in the same folder as your executable. So this folder on my little sandbox here is, you can't write to it. It's not writable. And so if you try and sorry, it's not right one, is it? Right. This folder here is not writable. If you try and write to it from the virtual machine, it won't let you write it. That's deliberate, because I don't want to get virused. If I download something in the sandbox, I don't want it to overwrite, or do anything horrible to a folder that is exposed on my main machine. But you shouldn't be storing your ini files there anyway. What you should do is you should always store your ini file. I think on this machine, it's going to be in or where it's home folder or something. In here, yeah. So by default, it will store it in a. This is a shortcut to find the right location for where you're going to store your ini files. You go to app data and it's in there, and then the name of your app. So just to show you what that looks like in code, get home path. Now, if you hit F1 on here, it'll tell you what the different options are for the different machines. On Linux, it's your home folder. On macOS, I think it's your home folder as well. On Windows, it is that app data path that I just showed you. iOS, it's documents or something like that, something crazy. I forget, but that's how it works. And it stores it there, and then all I'm doing is in the ini file is just really how hilarious. It doesn't know how to, because it's a sandbox and therefore not set up. Yeah, so of course it's not enabled by default. I wonder if terminal's enabled by default in the sandbox. Yeah, interesting. I've never tried this before, in the sandbox. There you go. So that's the contents of your ini file. Simple stuff. Anyway, to go back to the app, that's nothing to do with notifications. It's just what I'm storing there. The first thing that you do need to do, and actually our demo doesn't have this in here, is that you need to initialize the notification with whatever title you want. Now, I'm storing this in a variable, and by default, that variable says test notifications. But when I'm restoring the app, when I'm creating the app for the first time, I'm actually storing whatever I put in that edit box. So I could put, as you saw, notifications bubba or 30 for 30 or something like that. What happens if none of those are set up, and what happens if you don't use platform initialize? Well, what it does by default, I'm not sure whether this will appear on this screen. Here we go. What it will do by default is you will go into version info, and the the thing that it will show by default is the product name. So if you've got something really ridiculous in here, or you've got some default blank or something like that, um, if if by default that is blank, when you go to show your notifications, you're going to get this problem where the notification shows up. I think I might have taken an example of it. I don't think I did actually. The notification will show up and it'll just say the name of the executable. So it'll say uh, desktop notifications.exe instead of the title, which is not cool. Okay. And I think we can probably reproduce that by going into here. Oh no, we can't because it won't work. If we when it closes, it's saving that out. If I now open this again, yeah, it's going to use the previous version. There you go. So if the app title is blank, then by default you'll get that. Now, if you've ever written, Richard Avalon says, "You got NeoVim installed, right?" Yes, yes, but I'm on a Windows machine, mate. So by default, if you do not set that value in Rad Studio, which is the application name in the version info, then you're going to get that horrible .exe. So if you've ever played around with notifications on the desktop and you could not get the title right, because I know I've had that problem, it was this value here that you wanted: product name, and then that part there. As soon as you set that out, done. But if you use my example code, then you don't need to worry about that. So you can say something like, uh, let's say something really ridiculous like Richard loves Neo Vim, and this is Richard Hatherall, and then show. It's going to be blank. If I kill the magic, and then if I close this, go back in, and it's restored this, and now when I say this, after a couple of seconds, see it says desktop notifications. That's a Windows bug. Come on, you can do it. Oh, how awful. See that? It's a Windows bug. close. I'm not even sure I can get it right now. Come on, computer, you can do it. Wow, that's weird. That is entirely down to a Windows bug. There you go. Hurrah! I fixed it. So Richard loves Neovian. It is it's a rat's nest, but anyway, at least you know what to do. So once again, what you're looking for here is these shortcuts here. If you get problems whilst you're testing, delete the ones that relate to your app and only your app. Make sure that you've set that app property, and then after that, whatever you do, it's always going to work. And I don't understand the mechanism that's going on behind the scenes, but if I change this to um, say Ian 30 for 30, which we know we've not had, and then if we close this up again, it's going to say Richard, but not, because now I've changed the setting and it's stored it. It's weird. It's a very buggy way of doing it. I mean, I don't understand. I'm sure someone Microsoft would be around to explain why they do it this way, because it seems really weirdly inefficient. I guess there's some mechanism, isn't there, behind there? But anyway, none of this you need to worry about, because all you have to do generally in your apps to make the desktop notifications work is you can have whatever type you're in there, like in there, but you can completely ignore that if you want. You don't need to have it. To send the notification, to display it, it's this piece of code here. So I've got on my app, I've got this notification center here, and these are only properties. Badge number, it's not relevant. Name is just the name of the component, obviously, and that's it. There is an event, which is one of them is if you've clicked on the notification in Windows, it will then send it back to that component. That's when we are showing the details of the notification. But you set the name of the notification, you set the title for the notification, and then the alert body, which is whatever you're actually showing. There's an icon property and a few other things as well. If you look in the help for it, it'll explain you how to do that. And then there are a couple of things you can do. Present notification shows the notification immediately. If instead what you actually want to do is do it as a time delayed thing, I showed that in the um, mobile one, where there is a present notification, and then there's a time delay that you can apply to it. So it's got quite a lot of properties. It's pretty clever stuff. I don't know who worked on this, but I'm very grateful, because what they do is useful. You can say show notification in 10 minutes or something like that. So if you've got a reminder of a backup, you don't want to tell the person the minute they launch the program, then you can offset the notification and say you're going to do it later. Clever stuff. So that's really the only main part of code that you need. The rest of it is just to just make the demo a bit more interesting. This receive local notification is what happens when someone clicks on your notification. So if the app is running, like so, and we show a notification, and then if someone clicks on it, I'm just going to close this for now, but if someone clicks on that notification, actually let me clear all these for a second. Show the notification. When they click on it, you get an event back saying that the notification was clicked. Now what you would do in Nigel says, do you get brownie points if you tell Microsoft about a bug? No, they do for CVEs and things like that, for vulnerabilities, but I don't think they do for it may not even be a bug. Maybe it's deliberate behavior. I don't know. I think it's a bug myself. It looks pretty cruddy, but it only affects you whilst you're developing the app. But it's so frustrating when you're trying to get your app working, and that thing up there keeps showing your executable name instead of your actual what you want that notification to say. Because in a real app, you're going to say something like, um, uh, "You have new mail," and I can actually do something cool about this. So you might say,
You've got mail. You've got mail.
I've got that sound stored on my machine. But, it could be the notification is a sound as well. You can, include alerts. You know that things like, Discord and, Gmail and all the rest of it have different sounds like bing, bong, bong. You can usually, assign those at the operating system level, but, the actual notification process is controlled by the operating system, and it is effectively the same thing for can you identify the user and PC that clicked the notification? I don't know. The notification. It tells you when it was fired. I think so, because I think this is us. It just sending us back our notification after we've restricted. Yeah, I don't think you can. It would be cool though, wouldn't it? But I suppose on the notification is on your local PC. So in that hi, understand in that respect, I think that the user and the PC are going to be you. So I guess I mean you could just grab whoever was clicking it using the standard Windows technique. You could actually find that information at the moment it clicks. So in here, when someone clicks on the notification, you could get computer name, I think it is, or something like that. You could get the computer name and store that, and you can also get the active username. There's a Windows call for that as well. So you would do it. The notification is just so you know which notification got clicked. Was it one or was it two? But everything else, what you do after that is something different. 'Cause it doesn't really have a payload as such. It's just sending you back the fact that your notification was clicked, and you know what that notification was because, well, you created it yourself earlier on here. So you're effectively getting this thing back in the notification. So I think that makes sense. Okay. All right. So that's really all I wanted to show today. As I said before, there is oh, I'm a bit blurry. This AI camera is really not coping very well. Um, the the previous webinar I did on mobile notifications goes into a lot more depth about what to do. Desktop notifications are a lot easier. I actually made it more complicated than it needed to be, but I really wanted to show that problem with the title because it's caught me out a few times. I'm like, why won't these um, why won't these notifications show the right title? And it was down to Windows. In most of the examples you see, in most of the documentation you see, you will see it say, "Oh, uh, it may take a few seconds for it to notice." I don't know what is going on there with Windows, but it is really weird. I'm sorry, my camera's a bit blurry. I will get this fixed. Like I said, I moved at the weekend, and I'm amazed it's working, but it's still a bit shady, isn't it? Something's not right. I've actually got two very bright lights shining on me, and you would think that they would actually stop me being quite so blurry. I think it has problems with the depth behind me because I've got a little bit more depth across the room now than I had in my other office. So maybe that's what it is. And Rick says from Copilot, tracking which specific user on a PC clicked a Windows notification isn't something typically possible through the built-in Windows features. Actually, yeah, I agree. But as I said, you could do it in the event. When someone clicks on it, you can say, get the computer name and get the username of the active user. So you don't need to let the notification do it. You can do it in your own code. There is code out there to get the username reliably. I've done it myself several times. Probably the reason was in sorting order. Yes, could be. I don't know. It's one of those things. Okay. All right. Well, okay. For those of you that want to join us on Thursday, let me just get that up again. Make sure I'm not talking nonsense. Yes, it is this Thursday, same time as we started today, with Valerie from Valerie Kim from Der Scanner, and she's going to be talking about code security and code quality using their interesting product. And for those of you that go to that site, you can also carry on with the other webinars. We've got 3 left after today. We're going to do detecting dark mode in the modern way, because since I wrote my original dark mode unit, we've actually added some stuff to the VCL that does it for you now, so makes life a lot easier. You can say platform services and then get the color scheme, whether it's dark or light, and get the accent colors and a few other things as well. Theming services support some stuff as well, which is great. We've the thing about the VCL and the FireMonkey is that when we cover these topics in these webinars, they're some of them are relevant for decades. You can literally go back on older videos and watch them. I've done videos for 15 years, I think, for the company, on and off. But also, Rad Studio is always keeping up to date, so it's always catching up, with trends and fashions. AI stuff, for example, which is going to become very, very big. In May and June and July, we are doing some very big focuses on putting AI in your own apps. I'm going to organize a webinar with TMS and brought out a very interesting MCP AI project. Very, very interesting set of components, really very cool features. And we'll talk about some, what we're doing in Rad Studio with AI, and maybe even involve a few of you as well. That's at a meeting this morning with the big boss and president of the company, discussing that, and that's where we want to be. So if you've got an interest in AI and you're watching right now and you're into developing AI apps, can you email me? Because we're looking to get some people involved who have an interest in that area, or either looking at putting AI in their own apps, or they have already done that, or they sell an AI solution. If you've got that, feel free to email me. I mean it. Whoops, there. I'd like to talk to you, because AI, to me, the rise of LLVMs, or large language models, not LLVM, too much working with C++ builder, LLMs and machine learning and stuff like that, it's not going away. If you're hoping that AI is just a fad, and you're hoping that AI will just gradually fade away and you can go back to a nice quiet life, I've got some bad news for you. It's not going to happen. I believe, personally, I call myself an optimistic skeptic when it comes to AI. I think right now there's a lot to be desired on some AI where you're like, that's just made a hash of it. But other AIs, like, oh my God, that is genuinely amazing and really makes a difference. And I believe that the AI revolution, which is what's happening, I believe it's as important as the internet. I believe it's as important as desktop PCs. I believe it's as important as miniaturization. So you've got things like those laptops in the background that run for like 10 hours on a single charge. I remember, only 5 years ago, that would not have been possible. So I really genuinely believe that if you don't start at least learning about what AI is doing, you're going to be in trouble. It's not, it's not something we can ignore. You've got to embrace it. As a company, Embarcadero are embracing it very heavily, but with you in mind. We're not going to force stuff on you. We are taking the more diplomatic and democratic approach to AI. We're not shoving it in the product and go, use it, it's enabled. We're doing the exact opposite. Some of the products you go out there and it's in there whether you like it or not. We're not doing that. Because we believe that the code that you write is your secret recipe, and we don't want training somebody else to know how to do your job. So that's where we're at. But anyway, come and see us on Thursday. But I'm also back on Friday. I'm back on next Tuesday and next Friday, and then we're done. And then I'll be off to Denmark for 2 weeks. No, for a week actually, and all sorts of crazy things happening in Denmark. Nigel says the skill we need is the ability to ask the AI to make the right questions. This is exactly the conversation I had with the boss earlier on. My daughter went to college for 4 years of one degree, and she got another degree as well. She got a degree in Korean language, and she's got a degree in graphic design. And the second day at work, her internship as a graphic designer, they went, right, here's the AI, and we need you to start writing prompts for the AI to generate the graphics. And she was crushed because she is an artist. She's a very talented graphic designer, very talented artist. And basically they just pulled the rug out from underneath her, and she realized there and then the design industry, the graphic industry is changing. And I think that was a light bulb moment for her, and I think it's similar for developers. Do I think we're going to be replaced? No, but I think Nigel's right when he says it's going to be about asking the AI the right questions, giving it prompts, prompt engineering, and then it's going to be a very useful junior programmer, a junior developer. But the more as things evolve, it's going to become very, very useful. Because, for example, saying to it, upgrade this project from Delphi 7 to Delphi 13, and it does it, that would be incredible. It's it's not difficult to do, but it's fiddly and time consuming. So same way as if you said to it, well, tell me where all the bugs are that are security risks, and it analyzes it, and it doesn't do like a dumb rule searching, but actually uses AI to go, if you do this bit and you do this bit here, and that bit of code does this, and this is on here, and you're running on Windows 11 version such and such, that's going to be a problem. That's what AI will do. That's what you would get a junior developer to do, or even a senior developer to do. So I think that's the future that's coming for us. I'm not a young man, and I'm not scared of it. I want to embrace it, but I'm cautious. I am a pessimist. I'm an optimistic skeptic. That's the best way of describing it. I'm optimistic of a very bright future. I'm a Star Trek fan. Of course, I want the Star Trek computer to be working for me. But I also think that we've got to learn to walk before we run. And some people are trying to run too quickly. So, yes. Paul says he's been training AI myself for 2.5 years now, and we're finally talking. Yes, exactly. And Rick says AI is giving me almost every answer I need for my software development project. Yeah, and we're looking at trying to encourage people to train on Delphi and Pascal code, Object Pascal code, more thoroughly, and that's something that I'm going to Germany later on in the year and sitting and talking with the Free Pascal guys and some other people in the Pascal and Object Pascal industry to try and do something about that, because I showed in a webinar before that we're the fourth newest language in the top 10, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if we're the 50th or the 7th if people won't train their code on Delphi. That's something we've got to do. We've got to push people to do that, so, or at least encourage them. I don't think you can push anybody, but there you go. Anyway, that's it from me for today. I will be back again on Thursday with Valerie at the same time as today. And then on Friday, for a third webinar in 1 week, just after I moved, I must be crazy, a webinar on Friday as well. But until then, I will see you soon. Thanks so much. And I will fix my camera and the lighting and whatever on earth is going on with it. And this is AI camera that's currently glitching a little bit. But anyway, speak to you soon. Have fun. Bye bye.